Okay, guys, so welcome everyone. It's good to be here with all of you. Before we delve into our webinar, I just want to give you a brief introduction, brief framework. So those webinars are created by the Weekly Fasting Group, which is a big online community. We have people from virtually all over the world, and the common denominator of this community is that we abstain from food, and everyone at their own level. So it's really abstain from food for at least 24 hours a week as a group between Friday and Saturday. And we have people coming from all kinds of dietary backgrounds, spiritual traditions, we're here to learn from each other. It's not like a preachy group. We do not preach any particular lifestyle, any particular dietary choices. We are just here to share our experiences and to love each other and to train our tolerance muscles, towards each other. So if those ideas appeal to you and if you want to join this group, you will find my WhatsApp number. My name is Arik. I moderate this group, and you're welcome to send me a WhatsApp message with your name, and I'll happily add you. They'll send you all the timings of the fasting and everything. So that was a brief introduction. Now, today we have with us Lisa Bhakti. Namaste.
Hi. Absolutely.
Yeah, we are going to talk about healing. Like in her own case, it is like multiple sclerosis, but we are going to talk a lot about healing in general, because the same power that is able to heal or to improve multiple sclerosis, the same power can help each one of us with our own conditions. It's the same power, the same laws, the same rules. But before we start, we're gonna start with a short guided meditation led by Lisa. So Lisa, over to you.
Yes. Okay. Well, I was trying to be different. I don't know if you guys have used crystal bowls or not. This is a turquoise platinum crystal bowl. So I'm going to try to do it. I've used it before. Sometimes it comes across really good. Sometimes it's not. We're going to connect to it. So let's close our eyes. And I'm going to start the bowl. This is sound frequency healing technique. Take a deep breath in and release. In breath in and release. Inhale in and release. Come into your present moment and breathe at your own rate. Allow the breath to circulate. An in-breath from the toes, all the way up the legs, end of the torso, coming into the root chakra and see the swirling, thriving, healthy red, coming into your sacral chakra, see the swirling, thriving, healthy orange, coming into your yellow power center, strength, swirling solar plexus, coming into your heart center, your heart chakra, bright, vibrant green, swirling, healthy, thriving, coming into your throat chakra, that blue, allowing the voice and the throat to come together with harmony, breathing in and out slowly. Allow the energy to come into your third eye chakra, that indigo color. Allowing the pineal gland to be stimulated with your thought and your focus, and opening and welcoming and receiving that incoming messages from the heavenly realms. Coming into the crown chakra, violet and pink rising up, allowing the opening of the energy to release up to the celestial realm, connecting with the vibrant, gold sparkling white divine light. And just rest in this peace of the energy moving up to the toppest of the heavens, gleaning that which is there for you today, the messages, the peace, the harmony, the joy, the gratitude. And as that comes back down with the breath, just slowly come through the different levels of the heavenly realms, bringing that which you need back to your crown chakra and slowly allowing yourself to be bathed in a cascade of love, joy, peace, and harmony through your interior body, like a fountain, and out on the outside of your body. And just enjoy that waterfall of love and breathe here for just a few moments in silence. One inhalation. Hold the breath a moment. And let's release everything out the mouth with a strong release. Breathe in normally. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Lisa. So, guys, come back. We are starting. So, Lisa, first I want to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Just whatever feels right to you. Present yourself, your life,
Well,
who you
okay.
are. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I'm a divine being, and I'm thankful for it. And I'm so grateful to be here with you today to share that there is a way to feel better about your life and who you are and your wellness. And, I've gotten here by action steps, and it's always possible. That's the thing. I won't give hope. And I'm a mom. I have 4 daughters. They're in their 20s. Actually, 2 are in their early 30s. That's 4 daughters, as I said. I have a grandmother. I have a 4-year-old granddaughter and a 10-month-old grandboy. And I am a regenerative detoxification specialist. I'm a spiritual intuitive healer. I request and receive intuitive divine guidance. I'm a Thai reflexologist, Thai yoga specialist, and one of the new things I've done is cacao ceremonies, which I'm really excited about. Live out in the country, and I was a missionary 4 times in 4 different Spanish-speaking countries, and learned about this gift of a heart opening of cacao in Guatemala. And on my property, my husband and I, I've been married 35 years to the same man. He's pretty awesome, and he's the father of all my children. Known each other since we were 9 years old, friends, and then developed into a romantic relationship. We're in our 24, I think. And but anyway, the cacao ceremony, the reason I said this, because he helped me. I couldn't have done it by myself. I need to give him credit. He helped me mow it and design it. And the cacao ceremonies, I provide them together. And so we have a cacao ceremony, and then we walk the labyrinth path. And it's a pretty sweet sharing to offer. And so that's a little bit about me. And I have had a business where I help people with a lot of what I just said. And I do it one-to-one. I do it in small groups. I do it in collective, large groups, and a yoga teacher. I spent a lot of time at Yogaville. Some people may know about Yogaville in Virginia. It's Satchidananda Ashram, and found a lot of healing there. I encourage everybody to go there, look that up. And people come from all over the world. They respect all faiths and all people, and give you your sovereignty and help you learn where maybe you've lost some of your sovereignty. So I'll stop there and see where we need to go.
Amazing, amazing. Now, Lisa, if you had to share one message that you have learned from your healing journey, what would it be? Usually they ask this kind of question towards the end, but I like to start with more of the philosophical issues and questions. So what would it be? What kind of message would it be?
Never give up. Never give up. You can be your highest self and all that you think you can be, but you can never give up. I think, we were talking earlier when we were started, before we were on camera. I always believe that where I'm at, it can get better. And what can I do? What can I discover in order to level up? In all categories, not just health, but in my life and in my relationships, in my work, in my communication, in my interactions with people, in everything.
Wow, that is so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. Now let's delve into the subject of multiple sclerosis.
Sure.
So first of all, for people who don't know, could you give the definition of it?
Sure.
Maybe start with more formal definition, but then also please tell us how you felt, how it applied into your own life.
Okay. It is a neurological disorder that lesions are developed. Multiple means many. Sclerosis means scars. So in your central nervous system, which is your brain and your spinal cord and your whole spinal system, these are the messages that tell our arms what to do, our hands to do, our mind to think. So what happens is these scars develop along the myelin sheath, which is the covering of the nerve. They're attacked, is the nerve there. And then when you have these scars, if you could imagine, you have a cord, say you're trying to plug up your hair dryer, and you have a nick in the cord, and you go to plug it up, and maybe it worked 2 days before, but today it's not working because that scar's gotten so deep that the communication of the electricity to the hair dryer is not happening. So that's kind of what happens in multiple sclerosis. Everybody's different. And sometimes those scars get so deep that you can't walk. Sometimes they're so minor that you don't have an effect. And they're in your brain. I have 3 in my brain, and I have 3 on my spinal cord. And how it presented to me was, of course, I didn't know I had this. I'm very physically active, and at that time, this was in 2003, I went for a walk that day. I usually walk every day, and a fitness type walk. And the situation that occurred was, I usually go out early in the morning, and the weather gets warmer right here in North Carolina in the summer. And it was in the summer, it was in July. And I had this it was later in the day, which I don't like to walk later in the day, but that's what life gave me. So that's what I did. But I was walking, and on the way home, it's about a 3-mile walk is what I do. So somewhere in the middle, probably about a mile and a half, I noticed that my left side went numb. I thought, oh my goodness. And I kind of collapsed to the floor. Well, ground, actually, the grass and the asphalt. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So I just laid there, and I thought, well, but surely somebody will come by. But then I remembered, no, it's in the middle of the day. Everybody's at work. Okay, I got to do this myself. How am I going to do this? So I laid there for a little while, and then I realized I could crawl a little bit. So I started crawling, and then I started saying, well, maybe I can walk. I called upon God to help me. And I said, I got to get home. There's nobody that can do it but me. We got to do this together. And so I crawled a bit, and I walked a little bit, and got home, called my general practitioner doctor, told him what was going on. And he said, well, can you drive in? I said, yeah, that's not an issue. So I drove in, and the first thing they will check is cardiac, did I have a heart attack or a stroke or something? Because all that was fine. And then their tests began. So there's several months of tests, and it was discovered through an MRI.
And how long time ago was that, by the way?
Yes, it's 2003. Actually,
okay.
2003. Yeah, exactly. And so then ensued, what do you do about it? Well, at the time, I was beholden to the medical professionals to guide me in the direction to take. And the protocol with the neurological approach from the doctors is to begin what's called these disease modifying injections. And there's multiple different ones. And I chose Avonex, which was a once a week injection. And you give them to yourself deep in your muscle, which was not fun, but I learned how to do it because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do. But it made me so sick, so sick. They said, well, you'll have flu-like symptoms. Well, I did not do well at all. I didn't understand. I said, you're giving this big injection to me, the same amount you'd give to somebody. I'm about 5'2", 105 pounds, not very big. And I did not do well at all. I had the one that made me the first injection that really just threw me for a loop. My oldest daughter was 14 at the time, and she was working as a candy striper. That's like working in the hospital as a volunteer. And I was taking her, and all of a sudden it whooshed over me. I don't think I can drive. I don't think I got to get home. I said, I'm sorry, I can't take you. I'll call them, but I got to get home and go to bed. I didn't expect that reaction, to be quite honest. And that's what happened every single week. For 6 months. Mm-hmm. And I went from having your normal 7-day week to at least 6 days a week. I was in the bed 1 day a week.
Wow.
I did that for 6 months. It was miserable. But I started doing research. I'm a researcher. I grew up as a librarian and library assistant in elementary school. And then in high school, I was a library assistant, had a whole class where, instead of going to class, I was a library assistant, which was pretty awesome. So I learned the research technique really good, not on the internet, but I learned fast. I also homeschooled my children for 22 years. So by this time, I was really understanding the internet's my friend in that way. And so I learned about Dr. Swank. He did a lot of research about how protein and fat had a negative conflict with MS and made it worse. I thought, okay, well, I'll change my protein and my fat and I'll decrease both. Golly gee, I was getting really better. The symptoms were fatigue. That's what was a part of it. Even the numbness was there because that's what allowed me to force me to fall down and couldn't walk initially. So part of that also was fatigue, balance challenging things, and anxiety. Those have been my biggest challenges. And so those things started improving. And the only time I was sick was when I was taking these injections. And then, I had this message that maybe I should change the different type of medication. So we tried that for another year, and still it didn't change anything to make it any better. But I didn't quit researching and trying alternative guidance. And so I was led to integrative type treatments that were out there and offered. And I tried mindful-based stress reduction, and I was placed in a group with other people with physical challenges, and that helped me a lot. And I thought, okay, there's something to hear. And then they suggested increasing the yoga, and I'm a gymnast and a dancer since a child, and I knew a lot of that. I said, well, let's try that. So I tried that, and that helped me. And then it was suggested from them that I were working with is this mindful-based stress reduction program, to try acupuncture. So I tried that. And it was very clear to this acupuncturist that said, really, we're not able to get past the problem of the injections. We can't get to the root of the problem. We're just giving you enough to tolerate the medicine from the injections. That really settled in my heart deeply. And I'm a lady of prayer and commitment. And so over time, that led me to think maybe this is not my path. And I remember one day distinctly when I knew I was changing the course. My children I was in the bedroom. My bedroom is on one side and the family room's on the other side of the door. And I heard my children playing and having a fun time. And I remember crying. I'm like, I want to be a part of their world and I can't because I'm sick in this bed. And it was from her injection. And because when I wasn't taking the injections, I was doing better. So when this time happened, I also loved Touched by an Angel. I don't know if y'all used to watch that, but I love that a lot. And so that was playing. I was trying to be positive, and I really felt a divine presence, just like in that show, just come and say, you know what? Lisa, this is not the path for you. This is not the path. I have a better path for you. Stop those injections and let's find the way together. I'll lead you. And so therefore, after I recovered from that injection, I never put another one in my body. And so that was in 2004. And during this time of research, I learned about Joel Fuhrman, who has written many books.
Good for you. That's good for you.
And Joel Fuhrman had a book. I read all his books, but the one that really worked for me was Fasting and Eating for Health. I'll tell you that. That's a great book. And he even had a section on autoimmune diseases. So, he talked about fasting and how important it was and how it could make a difference in autoimmune diseases. And so I started thinking, okay, now I'm a person that I believe in fasting before. And so every now and then I would fast, but I never had any rhythm to it, is the way I'd see to it. So I was thinking, okay, let me give this but the way he talked about it is you really need to get that stuff out of you. Very much get that stuff out of you. So, and have nothing but water. So I did 11 days of water fasting. My life changed. Everything changed. And symptoms disappeared. And it was a miracle. And this blissful, beautiful gift of health started emerging. But I still had a lot of that stuff in me. And so from there, I thought, okay, what else can I do? He talked about a vegan life. And so I started staying nothing but vegan. And also I learned a little bit about cooking your food less. And so I started cooking my food less and eating more uncooked food. So it's very wonderful to see the changes in myself. And the hardest part that I found, though, was living in the world trying to do this, because, here I was taking care of 4 young children. I was cooking meals for them 3 times a day, snacks twice a day, cooking for my husband, which I want to do that. And then I was cooking for myself.
Listen, I'm sorry, there are some noises in the background. Is it from?
It's not from me, sweetie.
Not from you? Okay. I'm just because
might be
I
or something.
can't see. Like everyone is muted here. Let me check. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, we'll see, because everyone is muted.
Bloggers in here?
Yeah, but like everyone is muted here. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, I understand those things. Hey, it happens. It's part of life.
Yeah.
Well, so it was hard managing that, but I did, because my health is more important. And as I said, I'm a very physically active person, and so I continued to work out and do yoga. And since the yoga was helping so much, I thought, well, hey, why don't I just go get my yoga teacher certification? And I really wanted to immerse myself in that. So that's why I went to Satchidananda Ashram, which that stands for Truth, Knowledge, and Bliss, by the way, which I love that. And it's only about 2.5 hours from my house. And I lived in a yoga community, which is Yogaville, there for a month.
I was like, whoa.
And went to class every day, multiple times throughout the day, and lived there with everybody else. I started healing. I remember some of the things that happened in some meditations. It was like there was an energetic release of there's a lot of trauma that happened, and a lot of tears in the midst of meditations. And my teachers are incredible, because sometimes I just didn't have the energy, and they would video. I mean, it's early morning. You wake at 6 in the morning, and you could be done till 9:30 at night, and sometimes 10. So they would video classes and let me watch them when I was resting. So if anybody ever wants to go to a place that they work with your needs, that's the place to go. So it was incredible. And then I went back for my second level of teaching and more, and found that place to be a healing place. And so what I've learned about that is we have to have a compatible environment on a regular basis. I know for me and most people that I talk to, it's tough in the middle of challenges to rise above your health challenges, but you can, and I did, and I found peace. My family was incredible. They loved me so much. My husband is quite the carpenter, so he put together a little serenity cottage out in the backyard. It's just a shed. And so I designed it like a very peaceful place for me to go with air conditioner and heat to step away from the excitement of my four ladies, to have the peace that I needed to heal. I'll stop there and see if there's something else we want to direct it in a different direction.
Okay, now I wanted to ask you, prior to being diagnosed, how did your diet look like? Were you eating like the standard American diet, or were you experimenting with different modalities?
I've never eaten a standard American diet completely. I recognized, I think it's because of my dance and gymnastics, that I noticed a direct relationship to my output of energy, and my flexibility was related to certain foods. I did grow up on a farm, and there were also cows there. And I also realized that the cows that were on the farm might end up on my table, so I certainly couldn't eat them. And I mean, I had them named. I had one little calf named Chocolate Chip. So I'm like, I'm not going to eat you. So I just quit meat. Pretty much very seldom ate meat even before this happened. For that reason, plus I noticed it changed my athletic output for me. Okay, I know some people may have a different response, but for me,
Eric's a pedo.
We were talking about my past eating style. I think that's what we were talking about.
Right.
I did change when I became old enough, and probably I'd say probably about 12, when I recognized all this was going on, and that I needed to, I didn't want to be in that situation of eating my pet. So I quit that. And I've always been a big vegetable and fruit eater my whole life. I'd rather eat that anyway. And so, when I went to college, I did that and got involved in food co-ops and found that very beneficial. But I did eat meat occasionally when we would go out to eat, and it was like be a treat, but it was like very, very rare. As I got older and I'd be in situations, and I was tempted. For me, I tried to stay away from it, but it'd be fancy situations. They put it in front of me, and sometimes I did, but I didn't know that meat. I guess that's what made it better. But over time, I really stopped completely eating meat. So I would say I've not really had any meat in at least 20 years. So.
Okay. And what about your spiritual work prior to being diagnosed? Did you have any kind of spiritual inner work before that?
Absolutely. My overall mission that I feel like I learned early as a child, that, I have loved God as long as I can remember. I've had this total spiritual connection. Something that's jumping in my mind. We lived beside a cemetery when I was probably at 6 months till I was 4 years old, I think. And I can even remember the spirits there calling me and playing hide and seek with them. And I know that's unusual, but I just have always felt the presence of this wonderful, loving, heavenly guidance. Father, Mother, God. I've never seen it masculine. I've seen it a blend of both that calls us all to be divine, masculine, and feminine, balanced humans.
Wonderful. And so, Lisa, so when they told you that you had this MS, what was your initial reaction, and how did you deal with this emotional stress from this news?
Well, I was kind of scared and felt like I needed to follow the instructions of the medical professionals because I didn't know what to do. But I did take it to prayer. I've always had a prayer life, and I've always had it wasn't always like, I don't see my prayer life as I'm going to take time and pray here now. It's more like a prayer that's constantly going. and then concentrated times, kind of like you say with, a meditative life and then a meditated concentration. So it's always been a presence with me. And I believed I could heal. I think from the very beginning, I said, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to rise. Wow. And I'm going to make a difference in my physical body, my spiritual body, my emotional body. I believe it can get better.
That's amazing. So really, like from the first moment they diagnosed you, you had this mindset that you are going to get better.
Yes. Now that doesn't mean I didn't fall down and have to get back up either, but I always had hope. Has never left me.
Wow. Amazing. And after the diagnosis, did you change anything in your prayers, meditations, spiritual life?
I did. I think I've become more centered in that awareness of how are my days, my daily life, and trying to bring, less chaos. I'll tell you, that's not easy with 4 children. But that's why I think that Serenity Cottage that my husband and I came up with this idea. How can I make sure I have a period of time every day to rebalance? They're little bit human beings. They need help. So, they were 3, 6, 9, and 12. So you can't deny their needs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Lisa, and in your case, what was the lowest point in terms of your physical functioning where you got with this MS?
Well, I think it's when the injections were swirling in me so bad, that medicine. And there were times, I couldn't walk, I couldn't get up, I couldn't function well. And I couldn't think. I'm one of these people that I can memorize my calendar. I can see all the days. I know what I'm supposed to do. But when I had those injections in my system, I didn't know what day it was, and sometimes not what time it was. So it really messed with my cognitive abilities and my confidence and faith in myself. It almost felt like it took me away from my reality in a place of swirling with this darkness. And there were times when I felt like I was just encased in a dark hole. But I knew that there was a light that was at the top. And I just needed to keep that presence and keep looking up. Now that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy. And my favorite place to just release all that I couldn't control at the time was the front porch. I live out in the country, as I said before, and I have like a wraparound porch, and it overlooks the field where I do the cacao ceremonies and have a labyrinth. And I didn't have that at the end, but the field was always still there. And my children and I and my husband, we'd have bonfires there. And so sitting on the porch, that's when I would find my healing in places of darkness. Okay. Or in the Serenity Cottage, I think dipping into that focused centering of faith with no responsibilities. And it wouldn't be for long. My 12-year-old was very responsible. I'm fortunate to have had her during that time. And I tried to make my children be self-sufficient as soon as possible. Like, I think you can tie your shoes. You might be 2, but let's try it. And so, I held them responsible. So, you know what? I have a sign on my door. It says, Mommy sleeping, Mommy resting. And you see the sign. If you really need me to help you, I will. But however, if not, can y'all help each other? So I did that every day.
Rob is
Did that every day from 2 to 4. And I still have that routine where I try to rest as much as I can. I don't need to do that anymore. It's pretty incredible. You'll see as we progress in this conversation. I don't need to do that anymore. I choose to do that, but I don't have to do it. Then I had to do it just to function.
Say Amber.
Wow. Yeah, actually, we still have someone here, which...
Shut up, Eric. No.
That's so odd, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, it's the first time something like that is happening. And they're not here.
I have to tell you this, something that's coming in my heart is sometimes people don't want me to tell the truth. and I have had energetic attacks. I believe it. I see it. But I've had energetic attacks because I have truth that sometimes people don't want, or, you know, I don't know who these people are, but, you know, yeah, they don't want the truth.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So, anyways, we are about half an hour into the webinar. So now we'll just open our mics. And Barbara wanted to ask something. Barbara, so over to you.
How did you make the switch
Switch to what?
from you said you ate meat sometimes, like how did you make the switch from like eating meat to vegan? Sorry.
Well, I'm a kind of person that would document how I would feel after I would eat something. And you have to know I never ate meat much. Okay. So I could really tell the difference in the meat in my body and the meat not in my body. And so I would document how am I doing before and after. And I did the elimination diet after I fasted for 11 days. So there was no food in my body for 11 days, water and herbal tea, 0 calories for 11 days. So what I did is I added one food back, and then I wrote about it. How am I doing? Was that a good fit? And I never added meat back because I knew from my past experience that the meat slowed me down when I tried to do a roundhouse back handspring in gymnastics.
Okay. Thank you very much. Who else wants to ask? Hey, Revital, you have to unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening. It's fascinating, you know, hearing stories of people that heal themselves by themselves. So actually, you're saying that the medication did more bad than good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the point of, you know? So I mean, it's amazing. So why why are they giving us medication in order to make our situation worse? So, well, anyway, so what exactly do you feel that you said that you were mostly vegan beforehand? So what was really you haven't eaten meat, you hadn't been eating meat very much. So how exactly did you change your diet? That was, you said something about proteins and fat that so you got protein and fat from legume and beans and things like that. So you changed to raw.
Well, let me tell you, you know, the best way for me to explain it is I would try something. I was the experiment. I saw myself as an experiment. Let me try this. So the vegan was very helpful, but I was still having some challenges with symptoms of fatigue and still having some challenges with anxiety and balance and you know, felt like this is not my optimal best self. And so I thought, well, what can I do? So I thought, well, let me explore. So I went exploring with YouTube is awesome for that, and try different options, and everything I saw I'd already tried. And then I saw people doing raw food diets, and they were sharing with me their healing stories. And I thought, well, I really hadn't tried that, so let me try that. And I had a hard time doing it, to be quite honest. You know, cooking food, it smells good. and I was still cooking food for my family, and I tried doing it, and I even tried doing some of the fancy preparations with these chefs, and that took so much time and so much ingredients, which it was delicious. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I just didn't have the time, and I didn't want to spend my energy that way. So I ran across a wonderful lady. She's here with us today, Ellen Livingston, and she was doing a simple method. I thought, well, golly, I can do that. I like that simple method. Yeah, I'm going to do some of these fancier things whenever I want to and have time. But what I discovered is she also offered me a chance to work with her. So I did for 6 months, and it was helpful to talk to someone, work with someone, and have an accountability. And I found that very helpful. And the simplicity of a daily path, I think, is what did it for me. not feeling like I had to spend so much time in the kitchen when I'd rather be spending my time doing something else. Now, somebody else may find that joy in spending all that time in the kitchen. Well, I'd rather be out doing something else.
So basically it's raw vegan. So you transitioned from vegan, vegetarian, like cooked food, legumes,
Yes.
all that.
Yes.
Just so it's also less fat and less protein.
Right. I would say, yes, exactly. One of the things that helped me in transitioning is steaming vegetables and steaming sweet potatoes and filling in the gaps when I felt like I needed to do that. And occasionally I will do that. I don't do that a whole lot, but I usually will do that sometimes. I haven't done it in a long time, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't. I guess the best word that might come to it is intuitive eating is really a path that has helped me so much in that category. Listening to my body, listening to my heart. Okay, now, do I want to go to dance class tomorrow and have all my body firing for me? Or do I want the energy? Do I want to feel light on my feet? And do I want to be lifted in the air with ease from my partner? Yeah, you betcha I do. So I'm not going to eat anything that's going to interfere with me.
That's wonderful. So you healed yourself, and yeah,
Yes.
wow. It's amazing because like I don't understand why most people don't realize what's really going on, and the fact that medicines, they do more harm than good, and take matters into their hands and start researching and start. And it's amazing how.
It's Barbara, I hear what you're saying. I led a MS support group for 9 years actually, and saw a lot of what you're talking about. And part of that path is because people think they're doing the right thing for them and they don't know that there's another path. So I really stand on this place of no judgment and no expectations in this group when I was leading it, but I would share my course of action. When it was my time to talk, I'd tell them everything that I was doing. But it wasn't well received. So it usually seemed like, well, that's pie in the sky kind of stuff. That's not possible. Or I couldn't do that because I can't give up this. And I'm not condemning them. That's just a hard thing because we come up in this culture of this is what we eat for breakfast. And, in my opinion, it's what they see on the TV that tells them what to eat for breakfast. So I want to have such love and compassion for the human beings in our world that don't see that truth.
Yeah, it's programs and conditioning and one last question. Could you share your diet? I mean, what do you eat on a daily basis?
Sure. It's all fruit pretty much now.
Sure.
Yeah, pretty much fruit completely now with some greens. And I have a garden. The greens come out of my garden. And I found that to be the most high energy, the most high cognitive skills that fire, the most meaning like I can acquire knowledge, I can hold knowledge, I can share knowledge. I have an energy that, like I used to say that I rested, I had to rest. Well, now I don't really have to rest. I'm usually up at 5:30. I'm busy doing my life of the things and my work that I need to do. And I do go to bed early. I've always been an early bird and like early to rise, early to bed. And I'm usually in bed by 10. But, for supper last night, it's really wonderful when your family starts recognizing how valuable that is for you. I'll tell you a little story. My husband came home the other day and he said, I have something for you. And I'm like, oh yeah. And this was just this week. And he'd stopped by this little like farmer's market, little community store. And he came in with this huge farmer's market type cantaloupe. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you thought it was a diamond ring. But he recognized the value of that. So I sit down.
Eric, what shampoo do you use?
Yes. I don't know how to stop that. And Okay, let's just continue. Let's just send him love, peace and love.
That was my upper, where I just got all the seeds out and I cut in half, got the seeds out, ate the whole thing. I mean, huge. So quantities is a big deal for me. I have learned I need to eat more in order to thrive.
What do you
But
mean?
Go ahead.
What do you mean you have to eat more? I mean,
I have to eat a larger quantity, it feels like. So, you know, like that cantaloupe was pretty huge. And most people probably would have not eaten that huge cantaloupe, but I ate the whole thing and loved every minute of it.
but if you just eat that, then that makes sense. Most people.
And then later, maybe a couple hours later, I went out to my garden and I cut some kale and I cut some collards and I cut some mint and some cilantro and sliced them, you know, like chopped them really fine and put them in a salad, and lemon juice and honey and mustard, and swirled all that up and drizzled that all over it. And it was good.
Okay, so it's very inspiring, because I'm also on this path and I'm discovering that we don't really need much. And I'm also a dancer, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
You're an athlete and a dancer, and you've healed yourself. It's very inspiring. So thank you for sharing your story.
Sure.
So
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Revital. We had another two people who wanted to ask. So, Barbara, you wanted to ask something?
I don't think she's here.
So, who wants to ask, guys? Okay, Lisa, so
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your work with Ellen. Ellen wants to ask. So actually, Ellen,
Go ahead, Ellen.
Let's see if I got my video on. Oh, hi. Actually, if that's what you're going to do, I was going to ask you to maybe just to clarify things for some of the people, like the woman who was just asking, if you would speak to the difference it made, because this is what I remember most profoundly about our work together. One of the biggest differences that I remember happening was when you reduced your dietary fat intake sufficiently.
Yes.
And focused on the fruit. So if you would talk about that for a moment.
Yes, I'm glad you reminded me of that. Okay. I distinctively remember, like, I do a lot at that time. I was doing a lot of going to people's homes and doing yoga for them. And sometimes they'd have a group there. Sometimes I'd do one-to-one in their homes. And my go-to was to have just a little bit of fruit and then a bag of nuts. You know, I eat that on the way. And then, you know, Ellen was talking about, you might want to think about that and switch that around. And so I thought, okay, sure, I'm on game. So I did. And the next thing I knew, my energy soared. It actually felt like a weight had been lifted in my physical body and my countenance, my internal, my external of myself, and my energy and my being felt lifted and lighter. And the other thing that I noticed was the flexibility. The flexibility increased. Like, wow. So now I am very cautious about that. You know, avocado, I won't eat a whole avocado. I'll eat a half avocado. You got to remember, though, I'm a smaller person, so maybe that's a factor too. And I don't eat a bag full of nuts. I eat a handful. So I think the biggest part I think that people should consider is experimentation, and not have their thoughts, limiting beliefs, or what somebody has told them works before they discount a possibility that could bring a healing for them in some way. Feel free to add anything to Ellen, because sometimes when you're working with somebody, you remember more than what the person actually experienced in this moment, trying to remember it all.
Yeah, no, I think that's what I really remember, was how much your energy came back and your ability to make it through the day without the naps.
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
And when you said something about needing to eat more,
Yeah.
I think what Lisa meant there, what you meant was that when we switch to fruit as our primary calorie, right, it's a lower calorie food than what we were used to, like the handful of nuts. And so you're going to eat a much larger volume to get the same amount of calories that you need for your activities and your dancing and your gardening and all of that. And so it's not like you're eating more calories, you're just eating them in a different form that requires more volume because the fruit has so much water in it. And so, you know, it's a beautiful way to get your calories without the protein and fat. You mentioned that earlier. The protein also is just difficult to digest, the proteins and the fats. And so that's what weighs the body down and requires so much energy for digestions versus the fruit that requires so little, but you'll need to eat more volume. Does that make sense to everybody?
That's exactly, you're right. That's better. Well said. Yes. I need to use volume. That's a good word.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa. So I wanted to ask you, like, honestly, do you feel that you are completely healed right now?
Absolutely. Let me tell you what I did today. I was up at 5:30 and I
So
do
today
this
when I was driving in the car,
I do this research document on a regular basis. I've been doing it for 4 years now that I send out to the world about things that I research and find based on a lot of the stuff.
Nigga, shut the hell up and eat a cinnamon roll.
Mm.
And then I have, where I'm at now is, I call it my healing room, and it's a dance room. It's got mirrors. It's a combination. And I came up here and danced for 45 minutes. And then I went to a class and danced with my private teacher for 2 hours. And then I'm here. And what's going to happen the rest of the day when I finish here, I have a few chores to do. Then there's another dance class that I'm going to tonight. It's a group class. And then there's a dance practice party after that. And I won't get home till 10 o'clock tonight. And I've done this. I've been doing this for at least a year or more. It's almost like my energy grows beyond my belief at times.
Wow. Wow. And have you done any like official medical tests to prove that, or you just go by your own inner feeling?
I got my own feeling. I felt led strongly to not rely on those types of medical choices.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. So was there any particular moment when you felt that you were healed?
yes.
Yes, I would say for sure. One of the things that I think happened is it's been a big marked shift too, Ellen, since we've last talked. Even greater increase of energy and healing. It's probably in 2020. I noticed I was in physical therapy, working with a special type of physical therapist, thinking that might help, and it was helpful. I'm not gonna say it wasn't, and I was also dancing at Fred Astaire Dance Studios, and I love that more than I loved the physical therapy. And what I noticed over time, it's like, golly gee, my balance is getting better with the dance. And what was, and so I'm always introspectively, intuitively trying to examine what's going on. That's part of my experimentation. And I write about it, and I think about it, and I go into meditation about it. I get into a heart connection, and I was led to stop physical therapy and to spend the time that I was in physical therapy and dance. And why? Because I love dance. I love dance. So I was led to get into the heart of loving what I'm doing and everything that I do. And so I increased the dance. And in 2022, I think 2020, that started happening. So 2021, I started noticing a few changes. So this is probably when I switched that out. It was in 2021. And I started noticing a little things getting better and better. And it's just grown ever since. And I think it really started peaking in my dance in ways that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do that. I mean, I feel like I'm excelling in my dance in ways that I didn't do as a child. And then I had this period of time in life where things were just not functioning, as I was telling you. And I feel like I've left that hump. And now I'm feeling I have the gift of a lifetime with these dance professionals. They're professionals, and I'm an amateur professional competitor and show dancer. And nothing's stopping me. And I don't feel enough. There's nothing stopping me. And, you know, I had a competition last year, and I don't do it for the competition. I do it to level up, because I really like to show stuff better, because it's fun. You get to wear these happy costumes, and it's just fun. There's no restrictions. You can just create and make it be whatever you want it to be. But my teacher said, you know what, we need to get some competition in here so that you can level up and see where you're at. Well, the first one was April, March, I think. And I did okay. I was scared to death. I had a lot of energy challenges, I think, with being around all the energy that's swirling in an environment like that. And I was afraid to be in front of people. And I've worked through all those fears. And that's the other thing, I think, identifying your fears and living in your heart and rising above your fears allows you to excel. So I went through a period of that. I did another competition, and I improved. And then I did another one I think it was December. And I was like, and I got some scores that shocked me. And I was like, I didn't know that I could do that. So for me, it's almost like this affirmation of what I can do. And I don't really have any limitations. And I just need to trust the process and just to let go and rise above in any way I can.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? Now, Lisa, if you are working now with someone with serious condition, like MS or any other condition, how would you go about working with them in terms of their mindset, in terms of working with their bodies? Like, could you give me an outline of that?
Yes. That's been a process that's been happening. Interesting enough, I'll have to back up and give you a story that's related to that. My doctor, the neurologist that I was seeing, I had been seeing for a long time, which I'm not seeing anymore. He's a wonderful man, but he said, you know, this is unusual. I've never seen this before. He said, what are you doing? And I explained to him, I said, that's hard to do. People won't do that. Now, some doctors will abandon you if you choose not to take these injections.
Yeah, I don't use them.
And he said, I won't abandon you, but we need to watch this. So there for a while, I did follow that, but I left that course. And I said, I really don't want any more of those tests, and I'll see you occasionally. And he kept noticing that I was getting better. He said, what are you doing? And I explained everything I already said to you. And I hadn't seen him in 5 years. I don't feel the need to do any of that anymore. And but he said, I like what you're doing, but people won't do it. I think you're onto something, but will you speak to some of the people, some of my the medical type thing? And so, you know, he had me write a few things, and I did that. The speaking opportunity did not present itself, but he did start sending people to me. He said, can I send people to you so that you can work with them that I think will listen and be on board with you? And he sent me some people. They weren't willing to do it. They weren't willing to do it.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. Okay, so I couldn't change it anyway. If someone comes, we'll send him lots of love.
Yes. What I was saying is about the people that were sent to me, received the information, but were not willing to do it. And so the approach that I take now, I still have people that contact me pretty on a regular basis, that they know somebody that has MS and they like me to work with them. And the first thing that I say, you need to know if they're taking these injections. If they're taking these injections, then I can't work with them. And actually, I've had nobody contact me about it because most people are taking the injections.
Very interesting. Yeah. So again, how would you work with someone having this MS or any other serious disease in terms of changing their mindset, applying certain things towards their body? How would you do that? I do work with people for many reasons, and some have had autoimmune diseases. And the best thing that I've noticed is stepping them to the closest place of wellness is the way I've looked at. So I offer them to consider letting go of certain things that don't serve their best interest. Meaning, okay, so
How is your daily life? Let's look at your daily life. What, when do you get up and when do you go to bed and what do you do, in between? And what is your level of peace? What is your spiritual life like? We go through a mind, body, spirit evaluation and looking at, is it your best self at each place? What are your relationships like? Is your relationships full of conflicts? How do you deal with the conflicts? It is a full body, mind, body, spirit evaluation, because to me, because this affects your central nervous system, it's going to affect every part of that. And I find out what's going on in their diet, what's going on in your diet. And, the first thing that happens is they're eating packaged food. And if you're eating packaged food, it's not a live food. It's been processed. So I think the first things that I want people to see is eating processed food is never going to bring you thriving health. If you're eating food that has chemicals in it, it's not going to be bringing you thriving health. If you're putting chemicals on your body, I mean, when I say cut out chemicals, not just food, I don't put any chemicals on my body. We have to have an approach to realize that all must be of, first thing comes to my mind, the Garden of Eden. If it didn't come out of that Garden of Eden, then you shouldn't put it in it or on your body. And that's hard for people, but people step closer to it. Okay. They step closer to it. Well, yes, they can stop eating packaged food. Are you eating out all the time? Because you don't know what's in the food when you eat out. And if you are eating out, what restaurants are you eating at? Are you eating at fast food restaurants? I had one man that I worked with. He said, yeah, I just can't pass Taco Bell without getting a burrito. I said, well, then you need to find another way to go home. Don't go past, find another path. There's another path. Well, that takes too long to go around that path. I said, well, what choice do you have? What's more important? So,
okay.
I was seeing if there's another area that we could discuss that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask also about the mindset, like how what you advise people in terms of changing their mindset, because it might be pretty depressing when they diagnose you with something serious.
Right.
So how to go about changing the mindset?
Well, part of it for me is staying in a positive mind frame. Anything that's negative or not positive, that's a really tricky place to be. It might not be negative, but it certainly isn't positive. Down to the point of what movies do you watch? What music do you listen to? What type of people and relationships are in your life? Are these people that come into your life and want more from you instead of a mutually giving, loving, respectful relationship? That makes a difference. Are they putting things in your life and expectations in your life that you don't want to do and you feel like you have to do, and it brings you no pleasure? Yes, we have responsibilities. Okay, so say, for instance, you have something that you have to do that you prefer not to do on a regular basis, but you still have to do it. What approach do you have with that? I know there's things in my life that I've tried to step away from, doesn't bring me pleasure, but there are some things in my life that I can't change, that I don't really like to do. So what can I do about that? Well, let's see how we can make it better. How can I change it? Well, for me, I make up little songs and I'll say, okay, I really don't like taking this trash out, but I'm going to sing all the way to the trash bin and back. So it might be love, joy, peace and hope, love, joy. I mean, it doesn't matter. It can just be, it's bringing into your life that what you want. It's an action step. It's an action choice. And, even in my emails, I mean, I've talked to people about this, how do you act? How many emails are you getting? Do you feel bogged down with your emails? Okay. All right. Do you have to answer every one of those emails? How often do you say no when you really, let me take that back. How often do you say yes when you really want to say no? In any relationship, to your emails, to your phone calls, to your chores. So some you can't change, as we talked about. Some people just need practice saying no. And one and one little practice that I've done for myself and I've shared with others is, okay, so when you get junk mail in your email, practice saying no. So hit delete, no, 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 no. So if you say no 20 times to the computer, you can take that no and say it in real life to somebody that's asking you to do something. You know it doesn't serve you well, but you don't want to make them feel bad. So you say yes because you don't want to say no. Well, that right there is an energetic hijack. Why would you allow yourself to be hijacked into a world of doing things that you really don't have to do and you really don't want to do? But hey, show love and compassion in that no. You know, when I did have somebody contact me yesterday, I'll give you an example. Don't you want to be in our I mean, I'm not telling them that they're bad. They're not bad. It just wasn't good for me. See, that's the difference. It might not be bad, but it's not good for me. So this person wanted me to join their network of healers and yoga teachers, or what is everything, anything of healing. And I think it sounded wonderful, but you know what? It wasn't good for me because I didn't need to do it. So how did I respond? I said, you know, thank you so much for thinking of me, but my quiver is full and I'm very happy. Thank you. That's all you have to do. I think we've had some brainwashing going on in our world of stepping into situations that we're not being our true self, sharing our true nature. And so part of the thing I work with people is like discovering your true essence. I have discovered the world of planetary alignment has a big to do with our lives, astrology and energy and how that works from the spiritual realm to the physical realm, and looking at, oh, when were you born? Let's look at your birth date. So I have done some of those types of things where, all right, based on your birth date and numerology, these are some things. Did you know that about yourself? Well, no, I see that, but that's hard for me to do. But I'd like to do that. I said, well, this is your goal then. If you recognize yourself, your true essence, but you're not living your true essence, there's a message. If you start seeing that your true mission is this and you're not living your true mission, that's your message to step into your true essence and proceed in your life with your true mission. I feel like we were given a lot of things that we thought we were supposed to be, from loving people around us and the environment that we find ourselves in a school environment, or in, say, the television world. If you're watching television, it's not easily recognized because it was so cleverly indoctrinated into our being. And when we step away from that and realize I'm more than what they said we were, I'm more than what I thought I was, that's when you allow your true essence to blossom. And when you step into that power, it's really a power, because as I was saying, the planetary alignments and the date you're born, the time you're born, the power comes the more you step into that reality, because it's already been ordained for us. And I also believe in manifestation and setting your intentions. If you want something, you can choose to make it happen by the actions that you take or you don't take. One of the things that I've been wanting, that I'll share this in New Joy, it's kind of an example of it. I really don't know how miracles happen sometimes, other than the desire of the heart and the heart matching what you might like to be. But as I said, I'm enjoying dancing and I'm enjoying being a part of stuff, but it's time and money that's involved, time and money. And sometimes I don't have the time, and sometimes I don't feel like I should spend the money for whatever reason, or have the money to do that. And it could be anything. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be dance. It could be you like to travel, or it could be that you like to open a business. It could be that you'd like to buy a house. It could be that, oh, you need a new car. Well, if you stay in the lack mentality, it'll never come. But if you stay in that abundance mentality, it's likely to arise in ways and miracles you never dreamed. So one of the things that I do is I write little notes. I put it on my bedside table. I put it on the wall beside of me. I put it on my mirror. I am fully abundant and ready to receive that which is greatest and wonderful for me, to be my true self, to be my true essence, to have my true mission fulfilled. You know, it could be anything. And just let it marinate in your being and release it out into the world.
Wonderful. Lisa, and in terms of specific affirmations related to the disease or to the
Okay.
physical condition, would you, first of all, from your experience, did you use these kind of affirmations, and would you use them with your potential clients?
Yes, I did use this. Exactly what you're saying. All that is part of what made me believe it was true. I knew it was going to happen, and I set the mindset and I set my world with what I was just describing. I am healed. I am healthy. I am thriving and have all the energy that I desire. I rise and live a life of greatness, and I make a difference in my life and others. You know, whatever you might want it to be. If we choose it, we aspire to get to it, and we take the action steps to get there. You know, if you just think it's going to pop inside, we're co-creators. That's the word. We're co-creators with God, is the way I look at it. You know, we prove that we want it by the action steps that we take. If we don't, you know, say, if you want to heal, are you experimenting with ways to heal and noticing the differences? Oh, that didn't work. Or it did work. If it did work, I'm going to stick with it. If it didn't work, I'm going to try something else. It goes back to the never giving up.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, for example, in your case of MS, what kind of affirmations did you use? Did you use specific affirmations about MS, or did you use affirmations about health in general?
I would say health in general, because I think most diseases are rooted in something other than which we're told it is.
Mm-hmm.
So go to the root of the problem. That's what I work with when I work with people, and that's what I did for myself. What is the root of the problem? It's what was coming into my body that was changing the overall perfect design that we were created in. And so if I'm putting stuff in there that doesn't allow that perfect design to develop and to grow and to heal, you know, it's just like a cut. Think about a cut on the skin. Now, if you keep it clean and you take care of it, it's going to heal. But if you take that cut and you put a lot of dirt in it and you don't clean it out regularly, and you get other things in it, it could be anything. If you don't keep stuff from getting into that open space of skin, then it's never going to close up.
Exactly. So, would you suggest a specific phrasing of affirmations for a person who wants to heal, let's say, from a serious physical condition, and how to work with those affirmations in daily life?
Well, I can tell you what I found to be helpful, that I messaged myself internally and externally, is I remember writing on my mirror things like, I am healed and thriving in every category of my life.
Wow. That's
I
really
believe
touching.
I believe in short phrases in order to cover everything, because if it gets to be too long and too much, then you get lost in the words. For me, I found that to be true. Say specifically with now, I have done some specifics. Say, for instance, okay, visualization of my central nervous
I
system.
can't hear you.
I visualize my central nervous system. You can hear me? Yeah.
No, I can hear you. No, we still again, and we have again those guys. But okay, that's fine. Let's just continue.
You can hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear
No,
you.
I cannot hear you. I
Very well.
cannot hear you.
So if you're I do meditate. I've done meditations. Let's take it back a little bit. I did meditations where I would do a focus on my central nervous system. I mean, the one that I like, I'm really into the whole Aquarius thing with the pitcher and golden elixir of healing liquid. That just really connects with me. So I'd imagine golden healing elixir being poured in the top of my head, encasing my brain, going down my central nervous system, encasing every part of my central nervous system, and just glowing with healing, delicious elixir that takes away all that doesn't serve me.
Amazing. Wonderful. And then what would you recommend to the people who are addicted to negative news, in whatever way, including, including conspiracy theories, which can actually suck all of your
I can
attention,
tell you,
basically. So what would you recommend, or whatever kind of bad things, because it does produce adrenaline and other hormones when you
I can tell
read
you.
all those bad news and stuff like that.
So are you thinking,
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I understand the question. So are you thinking like alcohol and drugs? Is that what you're thinking?
No,
Because
I
I did
mean
work in
alcohol.
chemical dependency and
No, I mean people who are addicted
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah. I'm talking about
negativity. Different, it might be either from the side of official news or from the side of conspiracy theories. Like whatever brings lots of negativity to your life. But there are many people who are addicted to that, either on that side or on that side. So,
so it's really,
how to bring more positivity into your life?
I think the first thing is doing what you love. Doing what you love.
I hate
And
negativity. If I see negativity,
That's our troll.
you know what?
what
This
did
is
you call me? I know, Joe.
I think it's hilarious because
I don't live in a bridge.
it's really hilarious because why would I get upset about it? Because this is an example. Let's use this as an example. Let's use the troll that are trying to knock us down and tear us up. That's been a part of my life for at least 4 years. Anything I've tried to do that was positive, I've been knocked down by people that didn't believe positivity was beneficial and didn't believe truth was truth. So hey, why give it negative energy back? Because if we got mad at them and we get all this
Preach, honey, preach.
frustration, that builds negativity, right? It builds more negativity. Give love and joy back
I'm
to
not
that
a troll.
thing.
I'm not a troll.
And
I'm a
this
real
Ben,
person.
I see him, Ben Duvar. Is that the person that's trying to disrupt us? But he's on my screen. I send love to Ben. You just get on out of here
What's
because
my
I'm
name? What's my name, real quick?
it's just not worth it. I'm not going to destroy my joy because somebody, hey, he left. Hey, it worked. Yeah. So he left. We can't fight hate with more hate. We have to fight hate and negativity with love and joy and peace. It wins every time.
Yeah. Rui's saying there might be possibility to remove that person, but the problem is I cannot see them. I'll inquire into that after the webinar, after we finish, how it works.
I'm not surprised. I want to tell everybody I'm not surprised. This is kind of stuff that's been happening to me pretty much most of my life, and definitely the last 4 years. As soon as I try to reach out and spread joy and love and truth and peace, there's negative entities out there that don't want us to thrive. And if we start realizing that truth is there and we rise above it, give them back the opposite. They don't know what to do with it. I mean, it is hilarious. They don't know what to do with it. Even in your daily life, you have somebody in the grocery line that's not so nice and rushing around and just mean and snarl and stuff. That's my person I want to spread love to.
Absolutely. It might be good training for all of us. Good training in focus, good training in opening our hearts. So yeah, those guys just provide some training for us to grow.
Exactly.
I'm training for you.
But sometimes we want to help those that are in a place of lower level of functioning. When we have a lower level of functioning that's in our lives, just us being in our best, highest self can have a rippling, cascading effect on them. We can't change. I think that's the biggest part, that we can't change somebody that doesn't want to be changed. We can't change these trolls. Could you imagine a life that you just want to get on a live stream like this and cause trouble? Well, their life is trouble. They don't want to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we cannot change these trolls.
Their mindset is complete mess.
The mindset is completely off. I know what you mean.
And so don't waste your time.
Oh,
And
I
don't-
ain't wasting my time. This is kind of funny.
Right, exactly. And actually, what I've learned is the more I stand in my power about this, the more my power of joy grows, and it builds my confidence. And I think what's coming to me when I have worked with people is their level of confidence has been knocked down. So we really want to help people realize they can change and they can heal. And as healers and coaches, teachers, guides.
Yo, Eric, who is this person?
So, okay. Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay, guys. So, so, yeah, so you can finish now. Yeah, you can finish.
Well, I was
this.
going to say, some people that I have worked with MS or autoimmune diseases, they have chosen certain supplements. I think there was a time in my life I chose to use supplements, and that was helpful. So things like vitamin C was very helpful for me for a period of time. Sometimes we need bridges from this disease state to a healed state with certain supplements. And I'm not against supplements. I think they bridged me to the point where I am now. Vitamin C was very helpful. Vitamin C flushes, which would clear out a lot of the stuff that was in there that I was trying to get out. And it's very helpful with fasting. Some people have asked me how to use the vitamin C flush. And the vitamin C flush is taking an amount of vitamin C liquid, which cleans out the bowels, which allows the body to start fresh. And then some people can abuse that. Well, now I'm cleaned out. I want to put all that junk back in. Everybody's got a different mindset. But for me, the vitamin C flush was very helpful in getting a lot of those things out and keeping a clean vessel until you felt like you can keep it clean yourself. And there's other things that I remember using natural herbs like ginger in a supplement form that's been very helpful with inflammation for someone with MS or any autoimmune disease or any inflammation disease. Ginger's amazing. And I found it helpful for a period of time. And what else? Feverfew helps a lot with pain, ongoing chronic pain, because I did have chronic pain as a part of this, and some people do. So I think there's a place in time for supplements, just making sure they're clean sources. And then heavy metals. I went through a period of time where I cleaned out all the heavy metals and used cilantro is an amazing heavy metals. I keep, and a lot of times we can't keep it. We live in a world that has it in the environment. So I eat a lot of cilantro and I put it in smoothies to keep the heavy metals at bay.
Wow, that's amazingly so. Actually gave me an idea. Maybe we'll have another webinar specifically for all those procedures, because I'm sure many people are very interested in vitamin C cleanse and in heavy metal detox. And you you have the results. So what you did was right, because you are healed right now.
Yes.
So it's not just a theory. Like you have the results. And you have a lot to share. So maybe we could meet another time. We'll make sure no troll will be present there, no trolls. And we will just talk about all those procedures, specifically about cleanses, about heavy metal detox and stuff like that. But so guys, do you have any more questions?
Again, I must say that I'm very inspired by how you healed yourself. And I said I'm also a dancer. You said your performances are better now that you're on a good diet than when you were younger, and I feel the same. And it's like we do the research. We are ourselves doctors, and it's so amazing how other people are not willing to do the work and are so conditioned. You're saying that you're a living proof that it works, and still I don't understand people. I mean, what they don't want to give up all their addictions, and they'd rather be sick than heal themselves. They're not willing to do the hard work. Yeah,
I think
wow.
what you said is so true, and that's the hard work is truly hard work. And it's not easy. That's the hard part. But we can step people closer to it if they're willing, but they have to have a willingness to get there. And, you know, it's hard in this world to let go of some of those things. And some of the food sources and foods that we have in our lives, other people don't recognize the trauma that they cause to our bodies. I did some studying, you may have heard about excitotoxins. There's actually stuff in food that excites the central nervous system that makes it crave it. In my mind, that's why, in my heart, that's why I think fasting is so helpful, because it helps clear out a lot of those excitotoxins that make our physical bodies crave it. And it takes away the fasting takes away that desire. And the challenge is, a lot of times, if you're not regularly fasting, let me tell you about the fasting that I developed with Dr. Furman. So I saw him for a while on a regular basis. I said, I'm doing great when I'm fasting. I just don't ever want to eat again. And he said, well, you know, you can't do that. And I'm like, I know, but I just feel so good. And then I eat food and then I don't feel as good. And he said, well, we got to come up with a routine then, a routine. So my routine that I experimented with. So I encourage everybody to consider some of this. So my routine is I fast 1 day a week, 24 hours. And then once a month, I fast 3 to 5 days, depending on how I'm doing. And then seasonally, I fast 5 to 7 to 10 days, depending on what's going on. And this is just to reset that I live in this planet that has a lot of these poisons in it that I can't take away. You know, we can only stay as clean as our environment is. You know, think about a dirty goldfish bowl. You know, that we can feed that fish all the best food, but if somebody doesn't clean that bowl out on a regular basis and put happy energy in it and talk to them with happiness instead of saying, well, what you doing today? You're looking ugly. You know, it's everything. We got all that coming in. That's people talking to us or around us. For me, the physical part is related spiritually to the fasting, and it takes away all that negativity. It takes away all that internal garbage that's, you know, I think it's in our tissues sometimes. I feel better every fasting. And so my fasting routine has gifted me with an ongoing healed life. I would not go backwards. I would not change it because it's not worth it. And I think that's the key to helping people right there, is they have to feel the difference because they don't know the difference. Because some people have never felt that good or felt that well. I noticed that a lot when I was doing meditations for people more regularly. I mean, I'd still do some, but I noticed it when I was doing it with groups. You know, I have a group of 10 people in there. We'd be meditating and they would come out and they say, I don't think I've ever felt that peaceful. I've never felt that calm before. I want more of that. So I think that's what's happening. People have not felt the wonderfulness of how being cleaned out and eating wholesome, healthy, non-toxic, no chemical, natural food, no matter what it is. If you're eating meat, it needs to be clean meat, and making sure what the cow's eating, making sure where they're grazing on, what their feed is, you know, what grain are they eating? Where did it come from? We just need to know the source. I mean, it doesn't matter what you eat, and because it needs to be good. Because I do recognize and realize that everybody's physical body is unique. And just because I found this beneficial for me might not be beneficial for somebody else. But across the board, no matter what, you got to know the source, you got to know what's in it, and you got to know that it's safe to truly feed your body without toxicity.
Yeah, it's true. There are psychological toxins like, you know, negativity, and that's also it's the physical toxins, it's the psychological toxins. You know, when we grow up surrounded and absorbing all these toxins, it's not a good thing. You know, then all the manifests in diseases and all that. And yeah, I understand what you're saying. People don't know what we're talking about because they've never experienced it. They just don't know what it feels like to be clean and pure and serene, clean, the body is clean, the brain is clean. They just don't know what we're talking about. You have to experience it firsthand. And what you said about the different, your protocol of fasting is that Dr. Filanov, Dr. Fasting recommends that. I also do that. Resetting, it resets the system, these weekly fasts. It really does. You have to experience it first. You have to get used to it. It's not easy,
Right.
Both physically and mentally. I mean, you have to work on yourself. You have to do the work. You have to change perspective, and people are so brainwashed and so conditioned and so programmed, and you have to do the hard work first. You have to yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Really resonate with me, and I really, it's beautiful. I mean, I wish other people knew that and understood it. People don't understand, they don't understand it. I mean, and they think that you're suffering or something. No, you're suffering. They don't understand. Yeah, a lot of foods are addictive. A lot of it's true. And fasting weans you off of it. I mean, it changes you. It cleans you. You wouldn't understand it if you hadn't experienced it firsthand. So I'm really enjoying listening to you, and things that I've experienced. People that listen to people that understand what we're talking about, because sometimes I speak to other people, it's just a different language. I mean, I don't understand, so it's just, I'm just enjoying it to hear people, we speak the same language. We understand each other. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That's true. We need to have a community of comfort and peace, of understanding like this. I've noticed that's one thing we could talk about. I have ordered my life over the years, and making sure I have community of like-mindedness in order to survive in this world where these ideas are not often received well, and finding a way to talk about it and share it and support one another. I think that makes a big difference. And even if you work with one person, that might not be a choice for some people. They might not have the money. So I'm all for, breaking away from the earth matrix and not being a part of that which does not serve me. And so I feel like I am here to help humanity, and I want to provide opportunities for people to grow and learn without having a dollar sign that's so expensive. And so one of the things I have done over the years is, every hour I charge is an hour I give free. And I think we need to have that openness to serve instead of consume and take. And I think we really need to, we can grow in that. And there are people that want it, but they feel like it's impossible. I will say that I think functioning the real world and staying in this choice is not always so easy. And so there has been some times where, out of kindness and consideration, I might be a part of something and try to see myself as a light in the midst of the darkness, if that's the best way to say it. With that, in every category, I might put myself in a challenging situation, knowing it's going to be challenging, knowing I want to bring some positivity to it, and bring some truth to it by saying things the way I know can make a difference, and changing that particular environment. Or say, I want to go to a social outing. I think that's the hardest part sometimes, going to a social outing and knowing that when you go, these people there are not going to understand what you're doing. So how do you navigate that situation? Well, you try to find the best course of action in order to do it. If it's a potluck, I take something I know that I can eat, like a salad, a fruit salad. If it's an environment where I'm going to be served food, I'm going to say, please serve me vegan. I let everything else go based on the environment. It's more important for me to be a part of this social experience. Yeah, it won't be all raw, but that's okay because it will be vegan. But you got to find where is the line that crosses the line that's detrimental to you and stick to it.
And thank you. And just like Arik said, some practical, how do you say, protocols, like the vitamin C. That's also important, you know, to
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Also, I'm planning to invite Lisa for another webinar, maybe a few weeks from now, where we just dedicate our time to those protocols. Because Lisa knows
Yeah.
what she's talking about. You know, she has healed herself,
Yeah.
so we have to learn
Yes.
from her. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, we could do that. So actually, Lisa, now we are approaching the end of this
Okay.
particular event. Now, first of all, I wanted to ask you to tell us about your book, because I know that you have your book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get, I have one. Let me get, hold a second.
Yes.
I wrote a children's book, and
Mhm.
My Forever Family. It's about a little Yorkshire Terrier that we adopted. It's actually a true story. We adopted this baby. She's no longer with us, but she was a part of my healing. As soon as I learned, it's interesting. I didn't forget, but this is good. As soon as I learned that I had MS, I'd been wanting a little Yorkshire Terrier for a long time. I'd had dachshunds before, and my dachshund had died, and I wasn't ready for a new dog yet. I was still grieving, and as soon as I got that diagnosis, my husband happened to be out of town, and I said, I'm ready for that Yorkshire Terrier. And I said, if I can find this Yorkshire Terrier to drop my children off at this children's program that they were going to be at it for 2 hours, all 4 of them, and then I can travel to get this dog, I'll get it. And all fell into place. I got the dog, and this story starts when I picked up that little baby. And then it talks about how this dog, you know, did not know the dog's name. We didn't know the name. They wanted to be loved and accepted. And it comes from the voice of the dog, not my voice, but, you know, I pretended. So, and the ultimate goal was to feel love and have a special name and feel connected to people in a family. And it's a beautiful story. So it is on Amazon, and I recently did the 2nd edition, and it's also in Spanish. I have done mission trips in Spanish cultures, like I told you about. And so I'm not proficient in Spanish 100%, but I can communicate and I can get my voice heard. So I translated it into Spanish, and I had a professional check so it's called Mi Familia para Siempre. So it's out there too on Amazon. And so it's exciting. And I would love for anybody to, you know, find it, enjoy it. And, you know, one of the things I do, I don't think it's in this one, but if people are in here's this. This is a picture of her. Promise. She was a therapy dog. And this is her therapy card. It's Promise with you Chapel Hill when we were doing that. But I took her paw before she left this earth plane and had it like I put it on a piece of paper, and then I sent it off to create a stamp. So when I do a signing or people ask me to sign it, I put my signature plus the dog's paw print.
Wow.
And the original paw print. So it's pretty sweet to do that.
That's very touching, Lisa. Lisa, and now towards the end, tell us a little bit about the services you provide. What kind of people are those services for, etc.?
Okay. Well, you know, to be quite honest, I'm not doing a lot of individual services anymore because my collective is increased, and I'm trying to protect my energy and do what I love. So I think I'm not doing as much individuals, but I'm doing collective healings and intuitive divination guidance and those kind of things. But I do have a website, and you can look at that. And one is embracingwellnesscoach.com. And that encompasses a lot of yoga and a lot of less spiritual work. I'll just say it that way. And then Sacred Blue Rose Healing is more of a spiritual healing. And I want to tell you a little bit about that. I am definitely a devoted way shower and a light worker for the Order of the Blue Rose. I don't know if you know much about that, but it's a lineage of light that holds a truly awakened heart. And this lineage is of the holy bloodline, originated from Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, as carried forth through the teachings of the way. Now, the Order of the Blue Rose comes from the Holy Family's most faithful followers, bringing the purity of the Christ conscious message, love, joy, peace, and hope, compassion, not reciting the teachings learned, but through the embodiment of the living of the heart of God on earth. The main teachings of the Blue Rose is to live one's true nature, as I was talking about, a spiritual alignment that occurs within the heart. And in this oneness, all of life's a golden frequency of love energies. And so I have worked with some people with that as well. And so my email, I think the best way to do that, you can see my websites, and I have a lot of social media too. I could tell you about that if you'd like to know about that.
We will just put all the contact details below this video.
Okay,
So
okay.
everyone will be exposed
Okay.
to them, and if they want to contact you, they will know
Okay.
the channels, how to
And
contact you.
one that I just started that I'm so excited about, and I can't believe it fell into my lap, is from my social media, I was contacted and interviewed about joining this uncensored platform called Greater Courageous Driven. And so I have a weekly talk show on Thursday nights at 6:30. I just did my second one last night. So it's a whole new advantage, and takes a lot of planning to talk for 30 minutes nonstop by myself. I'll tell you that. So it's elevating me to step into something I've never done before. And I think that's part of what we need to do. We don't need to be complacent in our life. We need to say, okay, I'm ready for something new. And if we open ourselves to something new, that even if it challenges us, that helps us grow. So this is definitely challenging me, but I can give you all that information. And, so I'll just tell you, I'm on Rumble. I was thrown off of Facebook because I was telling too much truth. And then I was thrown off of Instagram because I was telling too much truth. So Rumble, Truth Social. I have a Twitter. I didn't get rid of my old one, but I quit putting truth on there, and I got behind another one. Where's the truth? Twitter's doing better. They're accepting some truth. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I'll give you all that information. And I have done a lot of blogging over the years, and so I have a blog spot that I write on. I don't do it. I've never written because I got to write on Tuesday at 4:00. It's like when I feel led. So the cool thing I think you'll like, there's a lot of healing stuff on there. Like when I was living in the ashram for a month, I wrote about it, and I wrote about it in the midst of the experience. So there's a lot of stuff in there. And actually the people that have called me that wanted help lately, I sent them to one blog post that really seems to tell them a lot of good stuff, because I wrote about it when I was there. And they said, well, how did you heal? How did you get better? So you just go read that. And if you read that, you will find out a lot of nuggets that will make a difference in your life.
Okay, sounds really, really cool. So we'll put all the information below the video. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish everyone a happy, healed life. It's possible.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. Bye-bye. Bye.